In 2025, the markets shone brighter than ever. The S&P 500 broke records. Nasdaq climbed to uncharted peaks. AI-driven companies announced billion-dollar valuations, and startups with nothing more than a concept paper were receiving tens of millions in funding. The Federal Reserve, after a cycle of hikes, began lowering interest rates. The money flowed again. Risk on returned. Venture capitalists dusted off pitch decks. Crypto surged. IPOs flooded the pipeline. Every asset gleamed like gold. And investors cheered. But somewhere beneath the euphoria, beneath the trading desks, below the TikTok trading tips, behind the bullish newsletters, something rumbled. Because the growth didn't feel real. Because everyone was touching gold, but nothing could be eaten. Act 1, the gift that wasn't. Long ago, in ancient Phrygia, there lived a king named Midas. He was not unkind. He was not a villain. He simply believed that more was better, and that wealth was the path to peace. One day, the god Dionysus passed through his kingdom. Midas treated him well, and as thanks, the god granted him a wish. Midas thought carefully. "I wish," he said, "that everything I touch turns to gold." The next morning, Midas awoke. He touched his bed frame, gold. His robe, gold. His throne, the vines, even the water in his goblet, all turned to shimmering metal. At first, he laughed. He believed himself blessed. His courtiers bowed. His people celebrated. But then, he reached for bread. It shattered in his hands. Wine turned to dust. And when his daughter ran to him, her smile wide with joy, he held out his arms and turned her to gold. In his quest to create value, he destroyed connection. He had built a world too rich to live in. Act 2, Wall Street's Wish. In 2025, tech stocks didn't just rise, they exploded. Startups with no revenue soared on the promise of AI-powered future productivity. Investors stopped asking about earnings. They started asking about vision, network effects, and total addressable magic. The Fed's rate cuts poured gasoline on the fire. The money needed somewhere to go, and Silicon Valley opened its gates. Meanwhile, Congress battled over the debt ceiling. Foreign holders reduced exposure to treasuries. Fitch issued warnings. The dollar wobbled. But the Dow climbed. Because gold, however abstract, was still being touched. And it shimmered. Act 3, the daughter turns to gold. Meet Ryan Chen, a 29-year-old retail investor based in Phoenix. After losing his job in logistics automation, he taught himself to trade online. He followed influencers, watched finance YouTubers, and poured his last savings into a startup called NeuroTrade, a company that promised to build AI financial advisors for everyday users. In 2 months, his portfolio doubled, then tripled. He moved out of his shared apartment, posted screenshots, gained followers, built a TikTok account. Until one morning, he woke up to see a notification: NeuroTrade has halted withdrawals. In less than a week, it collapsed. Ryan posted a video. No music. Just him, sitting in silence. He said, "I thought I was investing in the future. Turns out, I was just the fuel." He deleted the app that day. Elsewhere, startups shut down overnight. Employees were laid off via Slack bots. Customers were left with unusable tools. Investors shrugged and moved on. Until the layoffs became systemic. Until the companies fueling the rally started falling. And just like Midas, the system realized, it had touched too much. Too many promises. Too many valuations. Too little substance. Act 4, Midas in his court. Myth rarely tells us what happened to Midas's kingdom while he reveled in gold. But imagine it? Farmers trying to harvest wheat that turned to metal. Wells that gleamed but could not quench thirst. Children playing in golden fields too brittle to walk on. A kingdom where everything looked perfect, and nothing worked. The nobles envied Midas. The priests feared him. The poor starved. And in the quiet of his chamber, with his daughter now a statue, Midas wept. Act 5, the remorse. Midas stood in his golden palace, surrounded by gleaming ruin. He prayed to Dionysus. He begged, "Take it back. Take it all back." The god took pity. He instructed Midas to wash in the Pactolus River. As the water flowed over him, the gold drained away. The spell broke. In 2025, there is no river. But there may be recognition. Some fund managers began writing letters, acknowledging speculative excess. Young investors turned toward dividend-paying companies, boring ETFs, tangible assets. New newsletters stopped preaching YOLO and started talking about resilience. A few policymakers even began exploring debt reform, universal basic access to food, and reinvestment in public infrastructure. Gold was still beautiful. But it wasn't sacred anymore. Act 6, Echoes of History. We've been been here before. In the early 1700s, the South Sea Bubble saw British aristocrats pour fortunes into companies with no product, just dreams. Fortunes were made. And lost. In 1929, ticker tape machines couldn't keep up with the crash. In 2000, the dot-com bubble popped, leaving parking lots full of broken servers and abandoned office chairs. In 2008, the housing crisis taught us that when money grows faster than trust, collapse follows. Midas lives in every cycle. But so does his regret. Act 7, a future remembered. Imagine it's 2032. America has restructured how it defines growth. Quarterly reports still exist, but so do civic audits. A startup's social impact is as important as its profit margins. Children are taught about speculative cycles, not just from textbooks, but through simulations and storytelling. The Federal Reserve includes not only economists, but anthropologists and historians. Wealth exists. But so do new kinds of value, trust, sustainability, shared equity. The golden touch remains, only now, we wear gloves. Finale, the real wealth. Midas never stopped being king. But he ruled differently. He planted orchards. He restored what he could. He taught his people that some things grow slowly. That not all shimmer is salvation. In 2025 and beyond, we might yet do the same. We can still touch innovation, but maybe with intention. We can still invest in dreams, but not forget to eat. Because wealth is not what glows. It's what grows. And sometimes, it's what we choose not to turn to gold.